Hey guys! Watching anime in the 2010s was kinda hard. Streaming services weren't really a thing back then, at least not for 10-year-old me, so the only way I could watch the newest and hottest releases was by either hoping someone uploaded the entire season on YouTube only for it to be taken down a day later, or in the corner of a random ass YouTube video with subtitles in language I didn't speak. Of course, I still managed to watch masterpieces such as In Another World with My Slop Phone, Akashic Records of a DL, or shoot, Inuboku's Secret Sludge, stuff like that. As you can see, aside from the occasional peek I dabbled in, I busied myself with very odd and sometimes obscure side dishes when, in reality, I wanted that main course, that Thanksgiving turkey, that lamb chop. But instead of actually getting to eat said lamb chop, I just pretended to have done it for various reasons we will be getting into in a second. Don't you worry about that, baby girl. Also, I probably titled this video something like Anime I Used to LARP as a Kid. Great title, by the way. But if we're being completely technical, LARP isn't really the correct term to use because it just means live action roleplay, and there's already a word for poser, which is poser, and the term has already been run to the ground if we're being honest. But it's a funny word, and I want to use it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the earliest example I can remember, which is Stayed Alive. I didn't know anything about the plot, but as soon as I saw those characters, whew, I knew I had to LARP. Back then, and this is something you will notice throughout the entirety of this video, I was huge on character design, and unfortunately, they ate that the fuck up. I loved the way the characters looked, their costumes, their hairstyles, and everything about them so much that I printed out the light novel covers, laminated them, and hung them up on my wall. And they are still there to this day. You can't make that shit up. And y'all can't even blame me because, objectively speaking, the art is stunning. Now, I will say, I wasn't a complete poser, but I still managed to watch a few clips of the show on YouTube here and there, with obviously no added context, because why would there be any context? So then again, it's like, did I even understand what the hell was going on in the show? No. But from what I saw back then, my favorite character was Kurumi, hands down. Her dress was really pretty, I loved her hairstyle, I'm pretty sure her pigtails were asymmetrical, and that's something I thought was so cool for some reason. I just adored the whole theme of time. I'm not American, but I thought her guns were really cool, her dook 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 dook, you feel me? And those reasons were mainly why I just kept drawing her back then. My second favorite was Yoshino for very similar reasons. I thought her costume was really cute, especially her hat with the buttons on it. And she was actually one of the first characters I made digital art of when I was still using my drawing tablet and paint tool side, throwback! Another thing was how good the soundtracks were. I don't know what Sweet Arms, aka the band behind most of the soundtracks, put into them, but it's just banger after banger after banger. And they're so good that they're still my daily playlist to this day. But now that I actually had the chance to watch the show a few years back with a somewhat developed brain, I can say that it was fine. Like I said, it was a couple of years ago, so I don't remember that much. But what I do remember is the obscene amount of fan service, which yeah, it's a harem, which I actually didn't know going into that, so that was disappointing. But it's like a thing with harem anime. But I still feel like they were doing way too much with that because one of the characters I just mentioned, Yoshino, who looks like she could be no older than 12, if we're being generous, was not exempt from those weird-ass scenes, as all of the other characters who are also under 18. So it was really weird and gross and uncomfortable and disgusting. So yeah, I skipped that shit, which meant skipping 30 to 40% of each episode. No shade though. And at one point, I just dropped the entire show because it was getting ridiculous and the plot wasn't that revolutionary for me to want to put myself through that. K-Project was a very similar case in the sense that it was the visuals that drew me in at first. And people say looks don't matter. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing. Come on now. I obviously had no idea what the show was about, which yeah, that's kind of the point of this video. But what really brought the show to my attention was this picture. This looked so tough. I don't even know what it was. Was it the poses? Honestly, that might have been it. Was it the logo? Hell, I don't know if it was the line work, but it scratched my brain in just the right way, and I was convinced it formed some type of new neural pathway. So I just knew I had to watch that show. Just from this poster alone, my favorite characters were Pinkhead, Whitehead, and Blackhead right over here. And I actually used to ship Blackhead and Whitehead because I thought the contrasting character designs were kind of cool. But we will not be talking about that in this video. But of course, I was trapped on this platform, and the only thing YouTube had to offer at the time were some clips over here, some crumbs over there. And it was so bad that at one point, I just assumed this whole anime was just one long music video or one long AMV throwback, because the only clips I kept seeing were of a group of people running or a redhead skating around a, might I say, very aesthetically pleasing cityscape. But in all seriousness, I've heard some amazing things about the show, and now that I'm somewhat conscious, I might just give this another try. Beyond the Boundary, or as I called it, Kyokai no Kanata, because back then, saying the Japanese name of an anime was cool. Honestly, I only really tried getting into this because I thought the main girl's cardigan and bob seemed really easy to draw, and because I thought the title sounded kind of tough. But those reasons seem incredibly secondary to when it comes to what was the elephant in the room. Future Star. That music video changed lives. Even if you hadn't seen the show, hell, even if you hadn't heard of the show, you would have seen that music video prior to ever discovering the source material of it. That's how influential it was. Shoot, I thought that was all the show was about, just dancing and stuff. But no, it's about monsters, and violence, and fighting. Or at least I think that's what it's about. I actually still don't know. Yeah, unlike with the other shows on this list, I put virtually no effort into actually getting to watch the show. I just thought their dance was kind of cool. The only thing I kind of vaguely remember plot-wise was watching one of those Try Not to Cry, Anime Challenge, Impossible Edition videos back in the day, and I'm pretty sure it showed a scene of a major character's death. I could be wrong though, so don't trust me. Ever. I actually never know how many syllables this next one has, so anyways, this show. I obviously didn't know what the whole show was about, but I was obsessed with one of the characters, Isaya. He was kind of cray-cray, kind of messy, and mama, I was in love with the criminal type shit. And like with the others, I only watched clips of the show, not actual episodes, because why would I do that? Or more like, how could I do that? Because the only thing YouTube had to offer was scraps. So that's why I mainly stuck to clips where Isaya appeared, something kind of wacky happened, or someone got hashtag owned by one of the characters. And I did this weird thing where I kept watching those clips in particular just over and over and over, even though I had no idea what happened leading up to whatever was happening in the clip. And yeah, to this day, I have no idea what this show is about. I just thought it was some kind of crazy, noisy, bizarre town or whatever. Even so, despite my incredible lack of knowledge, I asked for this back then on Christmas. Maybe the title of this video isn't that much of a stretch after all. The year is 2020/2021. The air is swarming with a certain virus. People are filming the insides of their soap bottles, and our For You pages are full of glitter profile pictures, My Hero Academia edits, and most of all, haikyuu edits. Everyone loved haikyuu. Everybody. Even the people at my school, which, yeah, I hated. I'm not even gonna lie about that. No, I'm sorry, small rant, but even at age 14 or 15, I thought those people at my school, shit, I might even say hashtag those people because that's what they were being so weird and overly annoying about this show. And I say that as someone who was a very cringy anime fan in the 2010s. Cringy as in, I used to regurgitate maid-sama comebacks to people who I thought were annoying whenever I was in an argument with them. Or when we had to write down our names and nicknames, I wrote down Amu as my nickname. Hinamori Amu from Shugo Kyara. Just because I thought our names both started with an A, so I thought shit was sweet, and because I thought she was an icon. She still is, make no mistake. But that type of corny. And they treated haikyuu like it was the second coming of AOT, which I haven't watched, but I heard it's supposed to be pretty darn good. And so, naturally, I refused to watch haikyuu, as you do, or as I did. I did that for a few months until I eventually caved and just started watching it. Yes, actually watching it, because by that point, Daddy had streaming. I thought season 1 was actually pretty good, and when I completed it, I was beginning to understand why people were hyping the show up that much. Not to the extent I witnessed in real life at all, but it was getting there. But I only watched up until like the training camp arc thingy in season 2, and by that point, it was becoming kind of boring and repetitive for me personally, in my opinion, and mi opinion if you gotta hear it in another language, because I'm not trying to breed any misunderstandings. It's not a bad show at all. It's a show about volleyball. There's not much you can do wrong with that. And I can see why you would like it a lot. The characters are pretty interesting and lovable, and it's a pretty interesting premise. But I guess it just confused me, because with the way everyone around me in real life was talking about it, I thought we were getting the quality of a Quan Mills book. Anyways, I still kind of LARP by pretending I loved the show. And I did that by making a DIY haikyuu shirt to maybe use it as a conversation starter and maybe make some friends in my grade. Because after the great shift in 2020 and suddenly everyone liked anime and I wasn't the only kid in my grade who did, haikyuu was for some reason the one show they would just not shut up about. And if you're curious about the outcome of the shirt method, it did not work. Obviously. Yeah, I'm sorry about this next one, but I may or may not have LARP noragami. Listen, please. Yeah, I did have a vague understanding of what the plot was, miraculously. I know, that's shocking. But I didn't exactly get to watch most of the episodes. I just watched episode 1, episode 7, and some clips in between for context, maybe. So I don't know if this qualifies as LARPing or not. You tell me. So yeah, I watched it kinda, but then again I also didn't, because I don't remember any key details and I don't know what happened at the end of season 2, but I very much pretended to have watched everything, and that became very apparent by how I bought a noragami backpack prior to everything I just told you, prior to ever touching a millisecond of the plot. And that was just because I wanted to show off that I liked anime, number 1, and number 2, because I saw a girl a few grades above me with that exact same backpack, and I guess I just thought, oh, that looks so cool, I want that too. But all that aside, noragami is objectively speaking a very interesting anime, and even back then I knew that, so that speaks volumes. And now that I'm older and have streaming, I might watch it for real this time. I put the Neptunia series at the end because it's not really a show or anything, but a game series. What drew me in back then were, you guessed it, the character designs. The costumes were a huge inspiration for my My Hero Academia persona I made back then. I'm not gonna show it to y'all. And I thought Neptune's hair clips and hoodie were really iconic, and I still wanna have them low-key. I obviously didn't play any of the games because, I'm gonna be honest, at first I didn't realize it was a game series, and by the time I did, I was like, oh yeah, I am a broke 11-year-old. How am I gonna afford that? So the only pieces of content I could actually consume were some soundtracks, some gameplay, and some episodes of the 12-episode anime. Oh, and speaking of soundtracks, they were amazing. So amazing that they've been playing in my head for the past 6 or 7 years. That was not intentional. And when I rediscovered them a few months ago, I gasped like a kid on Christmas morning. Another kind of pivotal memory I remember was when a new game was supposed to come out and they kept releasing all of these trailers and teasers. I think the game was called something like Cyber Dimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online, and it got me so excited, like I was actually in the fandom, when it's like I wasn't even the target audience. Or at least I'm assuming. While we're on the topic of target audiences, looking back and from what I can remember, the anime and some of the games had some really weird undertones and were probably made for people who enjoy Mushoku Tensei. Now I'm just playing. More like people who enjoy My Dress Up Darling and think it's the best romance anime ever and see no issue with the fan service. No hate though. Like the characters looked like kids, and I'm pretty sure majority even were kids, especially that short brown-haired character. I forgot her name, my bad, my fault. And to make sure I wasn't spitting absolute BS for this video, I did some research, and yeah, even people on Reddit, no hate to Reddit though, can confirm that the games had some really, really weird and sometimes very, very inappropriate dialogue, especially given the ages of the characters. So would I play these games now, knowing all of this? Probably not, but it's kind of a shame because the characters do look cool. Unfortunately, that was all I had for you today. Like I always say, that rhymed. This is a bit different from my usual program, like the fashion related stuff, but I was actually really, really excited to film this video and build in some more humor and jokes and stuff like that. So I really do hope you enjoyed it. I mean, you can let me know if you want to see a part 2, but I don't know if I have enough material for that. So we'll have to see about that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Smash that like button. Absolutely obliterate that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye.